Okay, Julie, help me here. I just got a new toy, and what I want to do is go through it. We'll just open up the box, and we'll talk a little bit about it. You want to go ahead and open up the new Airtraq?
Yeah, so very fancy. It's very, very exciting. We have a new Wi-Fi camera for our Airtraq. So this is what it looks like when you open the box. Got a nice neoprene rubber thing on it just to protect it. And this is our actual camera here.
Okay, you want to take the plastic off there?
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh, brand new, nice and shiny. So on the back you'll see that there's a power button right here. So just hit that. Now, future reference, when you use it with your Airtraq, just the method of sliding it on will actually turn it on. It'll hit that power button for you.
So there's two ways to turn it on.
Yes.
Now, how would you turn it off? How do you turn it off? Let's just get straight to that.
Yeah, so in order to turn it off, you don't do the power button on the back, because then you're
And that's a good thing.
with...
That's a good thing, because you don't want to accidentally hit that power button.
Exactly.
And then have and turn it off in the middle of an innovation.
Bad. That would be really bad.
That's not good.
That's not good. So
Yeah.
if you look at your screen, you have a lot of different buttons on here.
Well, let's go through the buttons real fast.
Yeah, so let's start on the right side. So obviously you have how much battery you have left, which is important. We have 214 minutes of battery, so that's good to know. You can record it, and it actually will store a video on this device without having to store it on a computer or your cell phone. This is the pediatric button, so if you're going to do a pediatric intubation, you can kind of see the video screen. It's a really good clarity even without the Airtraq.
But once you put the light on,
right,
for some reason
it gets
very bright.
Very bright. So this is it's got a little baby, so that's how you remember. So that's the pediatric button. It actually kind of darkens it a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely darkens the screen.
In comparison. So if you're going to do a pediatric intubation, make sure you hit that button. Now, the cool thing that you can do with Airtraqs is you can do forward-facing intubations instead of our traditional technique. So if you hit the 180, you can watch my fingers. It flips it around so that if you're going from the front, it gives you the correct view of your epiglottis, as opposed to it being backwards if you're doing it from the front rather than a traditional upside down technique.
All right, that's good. How do you turn this off?
So you hit the little backwards arrow, you get to this screen, and all you do is hit power off. It powers down in 3, 2, 1, there.
All right.
And then we have our docking station with our power cord that you want to plug in. You don't want to plug it in right next to the patient or near a heat source. You don't want it to get too hot, but just plug it in on a countertop somewhere where it won't be disturbed.
Okay.
And this just slides in right here once it's plugged in, and it will charge it and charge the battery for you.
And there's a USB cable in there too?
Yes, there is. So there's also a USB cable right here.
So you can hook that up to it.
That goes in right here.
All right.
And then that can be hooked up to a computer as well, so that you can store your videos on a computer.
Yeah. Okay, so now there's another option on here, and you can actually then, that is a Wi-Fi, and so with the Wi-Fi then we can actually hook it up, and we're going to demonstrate that in a minute, how I can take my iPhone. I didn't bring my iPad, but you can also, any computer that has a Wi-Fi, you can download the app that is the AirCam app, and then you can demonstrate the intubation and record the intubation on your iPhone while someone else is actually doing the intubation.
That's fun.
Hey, so you're going to actually, I'm going to be the patient. We're not going to intubate me, but we're actually going to try and take a look at my cords. We're probably going to go ahead and use this Airtraq, and this is, turn that over there. This is for 6 to 7.5.
Right.
Okay. And so what you'll end up doing though is we'll just put a 6 in there. You have to lubricate it, and but Julie, you're not going to intubate me. Promise me. We're just going to get to a view of the cords, hopefully.
Yes,
now,
yes.
I've had a code, so I'm hoping this isn't a very unattractive view here
Well,
or
we
video.
won't hold it against you. It's okay.
Okay.
So if you look at the structure of this, it's got a curve already built in. So if you think about the direction of your tube, it's going to go in the direction of your plastic here. It's not flexible, it's very rigid. And one of the key mistakes that people make is that they get a little bit too deep, and so you have a beautiful view of your cords, but when you advance your tube, it goes a little too anterior to the cords and you can't get it through. So if you pull back a little bit, you still have a beautiful view, and the tube goes right in. So it kind of acts like its own stylet. But you'll see on this side, it's got the track for your tube. So your tube just slides right in here.
All right. why don't you pull the tube out?
Yeah.
And then we'll get some lubrication here, and I'll have you demonstrate putting it in there.
All right, so here we have a 6/0 cuff tube. You also want to keep track of this. You don't want this getting caught in the side of your Airtraq. Again, we don't need our stylettes, so we're just going to take that out.
I think I'm going to go ahead and use the atomizer devices, one of these with a little 4% lidocaine, and just to take the gag reflex down just a little bit. Again, Julie has promised me she's not going to innovate. Hey, now wait a minute. I don't like that look on your face.
Well, I just hope you don't gag and vomit on me. That would be bad.
I promise to clean it up if that happens.
Yes, the nurses are not being held responsible. Place it in, and you see how easily this goes in. So you don't want it sticking out the end like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You definitely want to
Just
keep it
kinda
more
match it.
lined up.
So watch that trajectory. So that's why you
Right.
don't want to be too close. And so you can basically put these, you can basically put this in the vallecula, or you can pick up the vallecula. The
Right,
preferred
so-
way is to go into the vallecula with
Right, so you can use it like a macro miller. Usually when I'm using DL, I prefer a miller because then you don't have to torque so much. But this has the built-in curve to it, so you can use it more like a Mac, and it works a little bit better. But whatever style you're comfortable with.
So I think we have found, though, I mean, this is more of a teenager or an adult, a small adult, but we have found that the Airtraq is excellent for neonatal intubations.
Yes, and small children, because the very anterior airway is really hard to get sometimes with DL, and really hard to get with a normal CMAC or VL
Right.
or anything. So so this works great just with the angle of it. You get a beautiful anterior view. I've actually used it in several small children and babies, and I've never missed first try.
Yeah. Hey, so the beauty of this, and this is part of why I am a fan of this, is that there's a lot of rural emergency departments that just can't afford a glide scope, or a CMAC, a Storz,
Right.
and this is far cheaper, far cheaper. And I mean, if we have residents who are moonlighting and they're in a little ER that doesn't have a video laryngoscope, this is the tool to have.
Absolutely.
And I think a box of those are like $60 or something like that. Ignore my I don't know the prices, but it's and I think the Wi-Fi is somewhere around $800. But it's something that's easily within a emergency department's financial budget.
So on this, it's important to know the orange button is your light.
Oh yeah.
So
I've done
if
that. I have to admit it.
Yeah, my very first time using this, I stuck it in and was like, I can't see anything.
Yeah, you have.
So you have to turn on the light, and you see the light there at the end.
Now
So
the
that
light's
will help.
blinking. What's that about?
So the light will blink for about, I believe,
30
30
seconds.
seconds,
Okay.
20 to 30 seconds. However, if somebody is crashing and you need to do this right away, I have used it right away. You still have that light source. It's just blinking a little
So
bit.
all it's doing is basically heating up the heating element so that it doesn't fog up.
Right.
And that's why it's blinking. It just tells you once the blinking's done that the heating element's done, and you can go ahead and do your procedure. So.
Right. And honestly, by the time, if you turn it on, by the time you're ready to actually do it, it'll be ready to go.
All right.
But I've used it right away, and it's worked just fine.
Go
You'll
ahead.
also-
Go ahead and put on the.
Yeah. So you'll notice that it has this eyepiece already on it.
Yeah. And the
I-
eyepiece is decent too.
Yeah,
So-
I've actually used it with just the eyepiece, and it works great. But if you want to use this instead, you just take off the eyepiece, which I actually
Just pops off. Just pop it off.
There
we go. There we
All
go.
right, so there's that.
It's early on a Sunday morning
It is.
here.
It really is.
And so
So I've taken off the eyepiece. Gonna apply this. Remember, you don't have to turn the power button on; it'll do it itself.
yeah, let's watch that.
So if you think about the way you put this on, so this is going to be going into the patient, and you're standing over here, so that automatically just goes in like
Okay,
that.
and
So
it's going to pop in there. Let's see what
just
happens.
pops in,
That's
turns
there.
on.
It turns on. Okay, so the
Alright,
screen's
so
coming up.
you are ready to go,
Okay.
and you automatically have some nice picture going on right here.
Yeah.
So
Okay, now
you're ready to intubate. Now
right.
you don't want to hold it up here. You want to use your dominant hand and kind
Yeah,
of hold
or
it.
even actually hold down
Down here.
down in. Yeah. So you want to use your hand.
It's very light. It's very easy to move. It doesn't require much to move around, so you really don't have to have a firm grip on it. So they recommend just using your fingers, and you'll see it's all in the wrist. You really get a lot of movement.
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the procedure. So
Yeah,
basically,
so you just really want to go in midline, not with direct views where you go into the lateral side. You go in midline. You want to just kind of slide over the tongue.
so you want to be visualizing it though as it's going in, so
Right.
that you don't push the tongue back and
Right.
impede the airway.
One of the keys is not to lift until you're past the tongue, because if you lift when you're going past the tongue, you're just going to lift the tongue with it.
Yeah.
So get past the tongue.
And then look at the screen.
And then you look at the screen and you see where you are. And you really should at that point see the chords. Sometimes you might have to back a little bit and lift very gently.
That's right.
Doesn't take much. It really doesn't. With the tube, the reason you've looped it up is so that it slides really easily through. And then one thing that I've noticed with experience is you always want to, you'll notice you can kind of slide your finger down between the tube and the Airtraq, and it really just falls out nicely. That way, when you're retracting your Airtraq, keep an eye on it so that you're noticing your tube is still through the cords.
Okay, so I'm just gonna take this atomizer, and I'm gonna go ahead and put in a little lidocaine, and we'll just try and do a little topical anesthesia here for my. This is 4% lidocaine, and I've got a respectable gag reflex, and so I just want to dampen that just a little bit here, okay? All right. Okay, here we go. I don't like to taste this stuff. I think that's going to be, so we're going to let that work for a minute, but I think it's going to dampen the gag reflex enough so that we can actually accomplish this. So, all right, good. So basically on this screen here is start Wi-Fi, stop Wi-Fi. So you have to do that. And now here on my screen, just make sure you can see it, is the Wi-Fi here. All right. So the Wi-Fi's on. Now there's a password which is I already had put into it. Now we're going to go to Airtraq Cam, and okay, and there we are. All right. Can you see? Yeah, see that? Okay, all right, so we're going to do recording on the phone. Okay, so go ahead, hit record here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and lay down here. All right.
Hi.
I don't like the look in your eyes.
All right, so I've got this nice and lubed on the side, making sure that your balloon for your cuff is out. Again, no stylet, and making sure that it's not. Of course, the light is on with the orange button underneath. Sorry.
That's right.
And
So all we want to do is just see if we can actually visualize the chords.
Right.
And I have a significant gag reflex, and I'm a very difficult innovation. So, and I've got a cold. So we'll see if this is where this goes. All right.
No pressure.
No pressure.
So remember, making sure you keep an eye on the teeth because he's an adult, and then you just want to go midline like we talked about, going past the tongue, keeping an eye on it, and then yeah, you've got some cobblestoning back there. And then you can lift up, advance a little bit more. Oh. You okay?
All right. But were you able to see the chords?
Almost.
Okay, let's
right
try
about
again.
the time you gagged.
Okay, let's try again.
All right. Oop, too far.
Are you able to see chords on that at all?
No.
No? Go real slow.
Okay. I'll try.
Go real slow.
Okay. Get this tube back a little bit. It's probably not helping. All right. Slow. You okay? No.
No, so, actually, let me try.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Almost there. Let's see at the bodice. Almost there. Doing great. Nope.
But you were able to see up a clouds.
Yes.
Okay. One more time. Okay, that's good. All right.